Hello, my friends in the Dinks world. It is Jeff Horowitz here with you again to spend another Wednesday night, another hump day, which I'm so excited about because I'm hanging with my besties, Dr. Chad Duplantis and Dr. Jennifer Bell. So welcome to Humpday Happy Hour with Dentists in the Know. We are your backstage pass for current trends, politics, and education in the dental world. We are live and we are having a little cocktail. Very exciting. And just got off our monthly call with Dawn from Ada Education, and that was really exciting. Lots of cool stuff coming up with Ada Education, the Aspire event coming up in February, which we're stoked about. So much good stuff happening right now. So I just want to say to you all that we are so thankful that you join us each and every Wednesday, or if you just listen to us in podcast, we're still just as appreciative. And as you know, we are all dentists, we are all business owners.
And I believe that the hurricane or is it me? Or who is it?
Who is it? Am I still on?
Well, you were. I didn't know if the hurricane hit South Carolina. Oh, there's JB. There's JB's here. JB's gone.
Which one of y'all kicked me out?
I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I was like the only person who had any animation. So anyway, sorry, Jeff. Carry on.
I can hear you fine, Jeff. So those of us in the hurricane are operating together.
Apparently, except I don't have anything on my screens right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he totally stalled out, and then I kind of picked up. So
maybe it was just you, but appreciate the interruption though, Chad.
Always welcome.
Anyway, we are all dentists, we are all business owners, and we are all educators. Our job is to bring all of you in the know. So Chad, JB, how you doing, my friends?
Obviously, I'm not technologically savvy because apparently that was my fault.
Well, go ahead. I need to get my picture back up on the screen. I have like two screens here, and everything kind of crapped out after you did that. So I don't know what you wished on me. You take your voodoo elsewhere, Chad Duplantis.
I didn't touch anything. I didn't do it. I got blamed for a lot growing up, but I did not have any part in this one. JB, how's your week been so far?
So far, it's been pretty good. Pretty good. We spent the weekend. We have a piece of property out in a very rural part of North Carolina on a farm, preparing for hunting season. So we were working on some stuff there in the cabin, and yeah, so it was really good. There's like kind of no cell service, definitely no TV, no Wi-Fi, lots of manual labor, working in the garden, all that kind of stuff. So it was really good.
You're being one with nature.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not just in pretty clothes all the time.
Is it kind of like being back in Lexington?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the trucks and tractors outnumber the cars. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like my high school parking lot had a whole section. You know, if you have a big open parking lot, the last two rows were 100% dedicated to all trucks.
Really?
It was just all trucks. And I definitely believe there were guns on. Like, I don't think we even had an issue with, you know, hunter racks and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that. I can't really remember because it wasn't really a topic of conversation. But
did everybody back her on in? Because that was the one thing I noticed when I so coming from New Jersey and then moving to South Carolina, I didn't really notice it in Charleston so much because in Charleston, all you can do is damn parallel park. You can't back her on in anywhere.
You can't back her in anywhere.
But when I moved up to Conway, everybody had a white pickup truck and everybody would only park if they could back her on in. And that's still kind of a thing. Like,
definitely.
What is the reason for that? Is there a reason for that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want to be facing in the direction that you're trying to run away in, just in case. You know, it's a survival tactic. Also, if you're tailgating, it's strategic. So it depends on which side of the parking lot you want to be tailgating in. Do you want to be tailgating into where traffic is coming, or do you want to be tailgating if you're going to sit on the back of your tailgate? Do you want to be sitting away from traffic? And, you know, a lot of times they'll pick a nice grassy knoll to open the tailgate on because they'd rather dangle their legs in that direction than an oncoming
Do they
traffic.
tailgate at church?
Yeah.
Because I see
I
that
tailgated at a dance recital this year. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think tailgating is optional at any time.
at any event. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Truth
back her
be
on in,
told,
Chad?
do
Huh?
what now?
Do you back her on in?
I always like to start everything off, and I don't like to start my day off in reverse. So yes, I back.
You're
I back
you're a backer
You're
on
a
in.
backer in her too.
everywhere I go. It drives my
Huh.
family nuts. But hey, I want to tell y'all a little story that some of you don't know that I'm privy to about JB. In high school, she didn't go by Jennifer, and she dated a guy named Bud. And on the back of Bud's truck, it had his name on the driver's side. It said Bud. And on the passenger side, it said Sissy. And then they had a gun rack in the back. And that was JB's high school days.
That's
You
true.
were Sissy?
I was the FFA sweetheart.
Yeah.
You
there
know what
go.
FFA is, right?
Future Farmers of
Future
America.
Farmers
What'd
of
you,
Oh,
America.
FFA. That's right.
what'd
Some
you
people are
raise?
pageant queens. Some people are homecoming queens.
Okay.
Not this gal. This
So
gal
here's-
was the Future Farmers of America sweetheart.
I want to know what you raised in high school, because if you were FFA, you had to have chosen some livestock to raise.
No, I didn't. I was nominated by the people in FFA. I wasn't even a member. My family are not agriculturally inclined, but I lived in a heavy area that was, and I was friends with a lot of them and hung out a lot. So
Did you have a corduroy jacket?
of the FFA, like the way
with your
they
name.
no,
your name
no, I was in kind.
Yeah,
No.
FFA is the real deal. And here, I mean,
Mhm.
you can do chickens, you can do rabbits, you can do pigs,
Sheep,
but the
goat.
real people, they do steers.
Yeah, sheep, goat. Yeah. It was the largest club in our school, but hands down.
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard time getting over the whole sissy thing. That's okay. We could talk about everything else tonight. And by the way, we have a great guest tonight. Dr.
Yeah.
Miguel Vidal is on with us, who Chad met at a meeting several years back in New Jersey. And he's a prosthodontist, excellent lecturer, excellent guy. And he's going to actually be talking to us about his healthy lifestyle changes. He was able to lose some weight and balancing, what he does professionally with what he's done in his life. And so I'm really excited about that, to talk about healthy lifestyle, because obviously I could use some help on that.
Couldn't we all?
Selfishly. But anyway, we've got this great show coming up, but I still am thinking about that, but I can't get over the whole sissy thing. Like
I actually was not called sissy. Chad's making this.
Do y'all have any idea where that reference came from?
No.
Are you freaking kidding me?
That's why
I just went on that
I
tangent.
really came out of left field.
Somebody has to know about Bud and Sissy.
Well, we'll wait and see if anyone ever responds. And I don't think they will.
It sounds like something that's on the back of a camper.
Yeah, maybe in the movie Urban Cowboy, dumbass.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
All right.
Oh.
Come on, Bud and Sissy, please. Come on, y'all.
I usually get the movie references.
I mean, Jeff, you and I go way back with movie references. This is the first time that you've let me down.
I know. I've let you down.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss. Swing.
That was actually pretty good, though, JB. He really thought you went by Sissy.
Yeah, you went along with
girl.
it.
No, I know what I went by, and it wasn't Sissy. That would have been an improvement.
Do you? Do you really? Do you know what they all called you?
I do.
Hey.
Sissy would have been an improvement.
By the way, since we're on this, I will have to share this story, because years ago we were hiring an assistant, and we had all of these applications come through, and we had this gal that sent in her application, and her name was Sissy. And she was a former pageant queen, and her previous job is she was a model for Skull Copenhagen. And we're like, this is fantastic. We've got to have this in the dental world. She came in. We had no idea what to expect. We were like, okay, we just got to interview her at least. She came in. She happened to be one of the best assistants we've ever had. We still keep in touch with her to this day. Now she's married with 2 kids and living the dream. But she was a wonderful assistant. But yeah, that was her birth name, Sissy.
Yeah.
So on that front, I just got to say one thing, and then we got to let Jennifer do her news. I've been sharing my I've had a job search out looking for a new hygienist, and I've been sharing.
Gonna have to share some of these.
I've been sharing. I think I am going to share some of these on the site and on Insta and Facebook. This week, someone actually applied for a job as a registered dental hygienist, and it clearly states that you need to have a degree. You have to be qualified to do this job, and I actually got an application from somebody whose only other previous job was in septic services, not aseptic, in septic services, no other job experience, and somehow they thought that qualified them to be a registered dental hygienist. But I've had some very, very interesting
doozies
applications, and it's pretty damn funny.
Yeah, I think there have been some serious doozies.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna post to the current job market.
I just gotta run it by legal first.
Yeah, just mark out some names.
Yeah, like we gotta do some redaction, but I'm gonna put some of those on there because, man, I don't know if any of y'all are having as hard of a time finding a dental hygienist as I am right now, but it has not been fun. And then I have one that keeps reapplying. Like every other day, she keeps reapplying, and she's had 74 jobs in the
15 minutes.
Yeah, in the last year.
She might be a bot.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, and she keeps reapplying. I don't get it. But anyway, with that, JB, do you have some news?
Always.
Okay.
Although it is the summer, it's a little quieter during that time.
We trust you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Well, the first big news story of the week is that CMS has come out with some updated regulatory information. So for those of you who are like Jeff, who take Medicaid and Medicare in treating patients, probably going to be pretty important for you to take a peek at their new fact sheet. There are some regulatory issues that are going to change. It does look like it's going to open up benefit for maybe individuals who had not been eligible for benefit in dental services prior. So definitely worth a look if in your office you currently take government subsidy programs. They definitely are working in that direction to increase adult dental benefit. But the real story of tonight is the one I really want to focus on because it just speaks to my heart. So I think many of us have patients who really want an improved smile. And for many of them, that's an unapproachable desire because of cost or fear or whatever it happens to be. And they want to consider veneers, and you walk them through that process and you go through the diagnostics and treatment planning for patients. And for most of us clinicians, we've spent years perfecting that craft. It's dental school, it's undergrad, it's dental school, quite often residencies, additional training, CE deep dives, digital smile design, COIS curriculums, SPEAR curriculums, hundreds of thousands of dollars of an investment. But you could have just gone to a 2-day weekend course to become a really highly qualified veneer tech, and then go to your local community and provide veneers for your local citizens at a heavily discounted price. And we know this is happening all over the country. It's been in major national news, print, magazine, news stories on TV, etc., about veneer techs advertising their services on social media to provide veneer services to patients at a significantly discounted fee. Well, it continues to bite those end users in the you-know-what. There's a case in Texas, Chad, hoping this isn't you, but a case in Texas currently for a veneer tech who's now having to be re-jailed. He was arrested for practicing dentistry without a license. He took his 2-day weekend course at his local hotel to learn how to provide veneers to his fellow citizens in Texas. And then a complaint was filed from an individual, a man who came down from Rhode Island to seek the services of this gentleman in Texas to provide veneers. His company's called for Forever Veneers. So please, if you happen to have an appointment scheduled with them coming up, you might want to relook at that. But he's providing veneer services to patients, well, individuals in the community. He was arrested for providing veneer services without a license, practicing dentistry without a license, arrested, allowed to go out on bail with the assurance that he would no longer be practicing dentistry without a license. And just a very short few days later, he was back advertising again his veneer services and providing additional services to folks in his community. The crime against him alleges not only was he practicing without a license, he might have also been using power tools to perform said license. So now I'm thinking, was he using a Dremel for a veneer prep? Anyway, the individual now has severe abnormalities, as you might imagine, gaps, broken teeth. He can't really bite or chew anymore. His teeth no longer touch, and permanent disfigurement. So please, I know, especially on our Instagram channel, we get a lot of consumers that watch our news. If you suspect for a second that that individual providing you veneers at a significantly discounted price might not be a licensed dentist, please do your homework. It takes a long time for dentists to become highly qualified to be able to provide those services to our patients. And even then, we have adverse outcomes. Even then, things don't always go the way we hope. But fast forward and put that in the hands of someone who's not qualified, who doesn't understand adverse outcomes or how to troubleshoot when things don't go the way they want, or heaven forbid, doesn't even understand the biological components of what they're working on. And you're going to allow them to operate on what I think is one of the most sensitive and vulnerable areas of the body, just because it costs you a couple $1,000s less. Maybe it's just not the right time for veneers. Maybe you wait for the individual who's highly qualified, who can provide the service to you that you deserve and will warranty that and see it through to the end. And with that, that's the news.
So I think that some of this, just because we have a prosthodontist on the show, I want to have him join us in the discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
But there was one of the days that you were out and I was doing the news, I think I discussed there was a mobile veneer clinic that was coming to the Hilton Garden Inn in Arlington, Texas, which, I mean, you know, that's pretty impressive that you can do it out of Arlington, Texas. I believe they had Coleman camp chairs. And then a couple weeks later, you know, I saw a car driving down the road that was wrapped, that they were doing veneers and stuff, you know. So I was trying to find it while you were doing the story, and it was hard to find because they don't really advertise on the intraweb as most of us do.
Correct.
And when they do, it's kind of you know, definitely a gray market type of deal. But it irritates me. But what makes me really proud is that our state actually went and did something about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I was the type of guy that used to get upset when people set up little whitening kiosks in the mall, you know, and I felt that was, you know, abuse of dentistry. And, you know, anyhow, kudos to our state board for actually laying down the law.
Bring Miguel up, but let me also say on the whitening front, you know, it was our state that ended up losing the Supreme Court battle on whitening in malls. I don't know if you're familiar with that particular case.
I remember that.
But you don't remember, Chad. So we went to bat and said that was also practicing dentistry without a license in our state. The FTC came after dentists in North Carolina, stating that we were doing a turf battle and that all we were interested in was that we wanted the monopoly on whitening, which I don't know about you guys, but that's not a profit center of my practice. So I don't really care if the mall is doing whitening or not. But it is, we were seeing some of the complications, folks that were getting burnt and having other issues were showing up in dental offices wanting relief and treatment for those complications that were occurring at the mall. And dentists felt like this is a very unfair turf situation where we didn't provide the service, and yet we're trying to provide the support for the negative outcome. Well, we took it all the way to the Supreme Court and lost in a split decision by 1 vote for states' rights for the dental board to at least have the jurisdiction to be able to dictate what is practicing dentistry in your state without a license. And so it is interesting to see Texas starting to kick back up on that, and other states too on this other new area of practicing dentistry without a license. And we'll see. It's possible it could move its way back up again to the Supreme Court to see if states will regain the jurisdiction of being able to dictate what constitutes a violation of the dental board.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to discuss this a little bit further in just a second, but I've got to introduce our guest. So a few years ago, I was at a MIS implant conference, and I got to hear Dr. Vidal speak. But folks, this is Dr. Miguel Vidal. He is a wonderful prosthodontist from Boston, Massachusetts. He received his dental degree from the University of Pennsylvania School of Dental Medicine. So we have an Ivy League dentist with us tonight. Excuse us. He continued on, did his specialty training at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he was awarded a certificate in prosthodontist and a master's in science degree, which is also the alma mater of another host of our show who almost didn't graduate. But that's a whole story for another show. Isn't that right, Dr. Jennifer Bell?
I definitely did graduate.
His main area of research was on the development of cell-based tissue engineering for clinical bone regeneration applied to implant therapy. He lectures internationally on topics related to implants, aesthetics, and full arch solutions. He holds a faculty appointment at Harvard School of Dental Medicine. Good God, are you just an Ivy League dentist? I mean, all around. He works as the staff prosthodontist at Massachusetts General Hospital Division of Dentistry, and he maintains a private practice specialized in prosthodontics and implant dentistry in Winchester, Massachusetts. But the reason these are not the reasons that I had him on the show. There's a lot that I want to talk about because he is an incredibly talented clinician, but what kind of brought us back together is a few months ago, he posted this picture on Facebook, and I was like, holy crap, who is this dude? I didn't even recognize him. I was like, that kind of looks like Miguel. It doesn't really look like Miguel, but I don't know. We got to figure this out. Anyways, he had this amazing health journey over the past year or two, and it's really transformed his life. And I think that a lot of us can learn a lot from him, both clinically and maybe in our personal lives, and how we can become better and healthier people in general. So, Miguel, welcome. We're glad to have you. I was kind of long-winded there, but we're just honored that you're here and are joining us tonight.
It's great to be here, Chad, and thank you, all of you, for the invitation. And I'm no expert on the weight loss. I'm happy to share, what I did and try to answer and shed some light on what got me to the point where hopefully, I can maintain this and keep going on with the new lifestyle for myself.
That's awesome. That's great. Great. And yeah, we definitely want to get to that. But, I think that the four of us are very passionate about aesthetic dentistry. And I know you are, Miguel. I've seen your work, and I've seen Jeff and Jennifer's work. I mean, it's something that really drives all of us. Did that story get anybody as fired up as it got me fired up? Because it just pisses me off.
I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and there's a ton of that goes on there in that community. I haven't practiced dentistry there, but my brother, my uncle, my cousin are dentists in Miami. And there's a lot of people that practice without licenses that set up a shop in their garage, and people see them. And for what Jennifer was saying, because they save, a few bucks, and then it happens also with the cosmetic.
I was going to say hotel Botox.
Exactly. even butt implants and stuff. They've made use. And,
oh my God.
So it didn't surprise me. Obviously, you get upset every time you hear it, but it's not surprising. And what's surprising is that people still go for it, I think. But yeah.
I didn't know you were from Miami.
Yeah.
Want to call you Mr. 405?
Mr. Yeah, I know. 305.
Okay, Pitbull.
Yeah, I'm a huge Pitbull fan. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's
Yeah.
305, Chad.
It's 305. Yeah.
Isn't Mr. Pitbull Mr. 405 though?
No, it's a 305 area.
Oh, he's
code.
Mr. 305. Yeah,
That's
never mind.
the best
Mr.
thing that
305.
happened on this show. Okay, Mr.
I'm
405.
I'm hip. I'm down with it.
I'm gonna get jiggy with it in just a
I'm
second.
so cool.
So, anyways, 305, 405, whatever it takes. Name that movie, Jeff.
305, 405, whatever it takes.
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom.
There you go.
Oh,
No, I didn't get that one. Yeah.
No, so Jeff and I are big movie buffs, and we always go back and forth. And it really pissed me off that he didn't get my Urban Cowboy.
Yeah, you got me
reference.
tonight. You absolutely got me.
So you grew up in Miami,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you went to, where did you go to undergrad?
University of Miami.
Okay, and then after that, you decided you want to be a dentist, like dad and brother, or were they after you? Was your brother after you?
No, my brother, he's actually older. So he was at Tufts. He did his dental school at Tufts. And my dad's a retired physician. And,
Okay.
on the Vidal side, my first cousins were probably about 4 or 5 physicians and 4 or 5 dentists. So I had both to look from. And, my brother was in dental school at the time. My sister was in medical school when I was applying. So I ended up following my brother. Actually, I didn't go to Tufts, though. I wanted to go on my own. So that's why I went to Penn. My cousins were at undergrad at Penn, so we roomed together my first year. But then I went off on my own from there.
Now, did your brother specialize as well?
No, he did not. He's a general dentist in the Coral Gables area.
Okay, in the 305 area
In the
code.
305, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, 405 is Oklahoma City, Chad.
Is it-
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe when I went to see Pitbull, it was in Oklahoma City, and so maybe
Yeah,
that's where I
okay.
got the
Maybe he
reference.
said 405 in the concert. Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt
was
it.
gonna say, but I am a Pitbull fan. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I did travel far and wide to see him. So, so you went to dental school there, and then what made you decide to go to pros? Because that would have been. I'm honestly kind of jealous. We had a prosthodontist on a while back, Dr. Greg Kinzer.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's great.
we found out from Greg Kinzer that his secret ambition was to be an orthodontist, but he's a prosthodontist.
Right.
And when I was in dental school, the last thing I wanted to be was a prosthodontist. Sorry, but I think now that I've been in dentistry for 25 years, that if I had to do it all over again, I would have gone to pros. So what made you decide to do pros?
Well, I guess like Dr. Kinzer, I actually went in thinking I wanted to do pediatric dentistry, a complete opposite end. And my first 2 years, I had everything really geared towards that, things I was volunteering for and doing for my resume. Once I got into clinic, things changed. And at Penn, the way they had the clinic set up for the undergraduate students was each group leader was a prosthodontist. And in our case, we had 2. And the cases at that point, Penn has a very proud tradition of a perio-pros program, very strong perio-pros program. But it had closed during my 3rd and 4th year of clinic there. So these patients had nowhere to go and they needed to be treated. So we ended up seeing a lot of those patients as dental students. And I started getting exposure to that. And when I sat down asking for letters of recommendations, my faculty, they heard that I wanted to go into pedo. And they said, well, I think you're making a mistake. I think you're talented enough. You should consider prosthodontics. So I said, okay, if you guys think so, that's what I'll do. So that was basically it. I listened to what they said.
I love it.
And here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always wondered when I was in dental school, like, okay, what is I get what the pros residency is, and I get the advanced training and everything like that. But I always wondered, for me at the time, and now I see it, but what private practice looked like. So we do have dental students that watch this, and for those that are, and I truly think that pros is one of the best specialties. So even though I said I wouldn't have done it in dental school, I just want to reiterate, I would totally do it now. What does private practice look like for those after they graduate from a pros program, and how hard was that for you, or easy was that for you?
No, I would say it was not smooth at the beginning. My first year out, I did work in a purely prosthetic practice. but it was a smaller office, and there was one main doctor there, and then he had associates before me, but none of them had been more than 2 or 3 days a week, and I started 5 days a week, so it was very slow, and it took a little bit of time, and things weren't going as well, after the first 10 months, and then I got the opportunity to work at Mass General, doing the prosthetic work there in the Department of Oral Surgery. So that was big for my early career. One of my classmates actually from Penn was a periodontist there, and he recommended me for the position, and that worked out great. So I started growing that practice, and then honestly, I bounced around from private practice to private practice because coming from the residency, you have the idealized what the practice is going to be, and that's not what it turned out to be for me. And actually, I think for the better. And I ended up in a great situation in the practice I'm at now, where I'm the owner. So it's a strong restorative-based practice, and I've grown the prosthetics within the office there. So for me, that was a better route, having that kind of support and having my two partners that were more than capable of doing some of these cases. They would just refer them to me. We kept everything in-house from that aspect. And I brought at the beginning some surgical aspects that they weren't doing with implant placements and things like that. My wife happens to be a pediatric dentist, as I'm not sure if I mentioned that, and she practices right below me. So the setup was great. Different, same building, but different practices. And they refer a lot of patients to us, once they kick them out, of their age, and then they come right upstairs to us.
Do you have a hygiene department in your practice?
We do, yeah. So we have, it's not a huge office. We have about 5 chairs. We always have 2 hygienists every day. We're open Monday through Saturday. Monday's the late days that we offer. And most of the time 2 dentists, but Fridays is usually just 1 dentist. So right now we're 3 dentists in the office, and my partner and our associate, our general dentist, one of them was my resident at Mass General that she did the GPR there, and I brought her over to practice with me. And that's how we run the practice now.
That's awesome. That's good stuff, man. I mean, it's kind of refreshing to hear. And I know that I think, I wasn't the only one. There were 2 or 3 people in my class that were interested in pros, and I think one went on to do it. And he runs his practice just like a really, really high-end general practice. He has hygienist, does a lot of general restorative dentistry, but a lot of really high level and advanced prosthodontic cases. And so the reason I like my practice is I can refer those cases out that I'm uncomfortable with. I can refer them to the Miguel's of the area.
So what I did, early on is, I did a lot of partnering with study clubs. And especially most of my referrals come from periodontists and surgeons, quite frankly. There's some general dentists that do refer to me. But, I don't want them to ever feel threatened, because I have 2 general dentists in the office and we have a hygiene program. So I make that pretty clear cut that you're here to see me only for this. And then you go back over there. I just want to see you once a year to maintain and just to follow up on things. But I think it's worked well, but it took some time to get there. And it wasn't, like I mentioned, wasn't smooth. And I was coming out of an interview actually for another job. And I called my wife and I said, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And I worked so hard, and pros residency was not easy. We were apart for those 3 years, and I was in the lab all the time, and also had to take care of the dogs for my research project. So it was tough. I almost quit. I never quit anything in my life. I almost quit after I went home from Easter my first year. I'm like, I don't know that I can come back, but I'm more than happy I stuck it through, because I wouldn't be in the position I am now if I hadn't gone through with it.
Miguel, I want to pivot for a second, because so it's great. You transitioned, you built and developed this really great prosthetic practice. But like all of us, life we get in our own way in life. And, life is good. We indulge a little bit. We put on some weight. Maybe we don't pay attention to our health as much as we should. I'm certainly guilty of that. Jennifer can fully attest to that because she's seen me at my worst. And but you came to a point where you made a decision to make some serious lifestyle changes. So tell us about that period in your life where things are going great in your practice, and you realize maybe I'm not paying attention to Miguel as much as I should, and what you did with it.
Yeah, so that's exactly, what I was realizing, that this past May, I had a milestone birthday. I turned 50. So I started my journey in January of 23. And, I had been thinking about it for a while because,
By the way, that's really old.
yeah. So, I got to the point where, fortunately, I wasn't feeling bad from a physical standpoint. Medically, I was fine. I didn't have any issues with, high cholesterol or anything of that nature, but I was having trouble, and we went to Disney World, and I'm normally taking pictures of everybody, and I was coming out in some of the pictures, and then I didn't see myself how I had gotten, and I saw myself in those pictures. I'm like, I didn't even recognize who that is. I was always in good shape, athletic and active. And like you said, Jeff, life gets in the way, and I could give you any excuse that we all have. Too busy. I have, I was going in every day off to see patients, which was not good for me. And that is what clicked for me. I said, this is it. I got to make a change because it's only going to get harder from here. And I honestly, I didn't even sign up with the trainer. How I met my trainer was one of my wife's partners. He had worked out with them. And I saw Matt shared his photos, and I saw his results, and I said, okay, that looks awesome. But Matt wasn't like me. Matt was a marathoner. He was already in good shape. He just needed to add muscle and wanted to define himself that way. I had to get built down and then go from there. I had a complete change. So I met with Martin, and I saw his website, and I didn't really see myself in the results of the people that he had there. So I didn't think I was going to be able to sign on and be successful with his training program. So it took me about 2 or 3 months of really thinking about it. And then I got back in touch with him, and I said, okay, let's do this. And I don't know how it's going to go, but I even put barriers to myself, because I told him I'm not going to be going to the gym because I wasn't confident enough. I wasn't in shape. And I said, you got to build me a program that I'm going to be able to do from home and work out there. There's a lot of limitations to what I set for him. So I did everything at home in a condo with just a set of adjustable dumbbells, a stationary bike, and I used YouTube videos to do Tabata or HIIT classes, just with body weights. And that's how I did it for the 10 months, in addition to the program that they laid out for me, which was also I still to this day, 18 months into it, I still track everything I eat. And I was very, very regimented and religious with that. If they wanted me to hit a certain calorie count, I did it to the number that they gave me. And tracking all my macros, I had to hit a certain amount of protein, fat, and carbs. And that's what really, I think, got me over the edge, because I started very slow. I wasn't putting in the effort. Quite frankly, I didn't think I was going to be as successful. So I'm like, well, I was half-assing it. There's no way around it. And then I had to check in with Martin, who are based in London. So I actually never met them. Everything's been online with them. And I had to check in with him about the 2-month mark. And I said, honestly, I thought I was going to be a little more advanced. And, I thought I'd be losing more weight by now. And he just, honestly told me, well, you're not doing what we told you to do. You're not putting in the effort. And after that meeting with him, everything just clicked. And I didn't miss one single session. Whatever they laid out for me, I did.
How often did you meet with them, Miguel?
It's once a week. I check in with them virtually once a week. And the program, it's depends. Everything's tailored to, what your goals are, the individual. So for me, to this day, I never worked out with weights more than 3 days a week. So today was a workout day. So my calorie count was higher today because of workout day. Today was a leg day. So I do 3 days of 40 or 50 minutes of weights, sometimes an hour. And I'm active every day. I walk a ton here in the city. I live in the waterfront of Boston. And then I do cardio maybe about 3 days a week. In the program, since I was an active and a calorie deficit trying to lose weight, I was doing cardio, especially the last few months of the program. I was doing some form of cardio every day. And there's certain targets that I had to hit with the cardio for the burn, 350 calories or 500 calories, depending on where I'm at.
How do you think, because I think a lot of dentists are guilty of all of those things. I mean, one of the things that you said struck me immediately was I was going in to see patients on my day off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there is this, we go into it because we're generally altruistic individuals. We want to take care of people. We want to take care of them almost, as was stated before, at our own expense, because we care about them and we want them to be better. And how much of that do you think played into, you know, kind of your journey before you decided to change your trajectory? Like, how much of it was putting everybody else first, your family, your patients' needs, everybody else? And honestly, maybe it's easier. I know
Yeah.
your journey's been hard.
Yeah. So you froze up there a little bit, but that is the main thing. I think to do what I wanted to do, I can't speak for everybody. I had to make this the priority that it needed to be, and that's what I did. So since January 2023, I don't think until this Friday coming up, I haven't gone in on a day off to see a patient, because this is my time now. And if I'm not healthy enough, if I'm not in good enough shape, I'm not going to be there for the practice anyway. So this is now, my everything revolves around this for me. I'm not going back to how I was before. I can tell you that. And this is now how I do things. And I plan things ahead of time. My breakfast and lunch, I'm still very regimented with that, because you know, I'm a creature of habit. I think like most of us, when we get to this phase in our career, and hopefully as successful as we have been with our careers, it works for me, so I keep doing it. So I plan everything. I make my breakfast and lunch ahead of time, and then dinner I give myself more freedom now, especially since I'm not in the same type of program that I was before. But that's what it is, Jennifer. I just made it the priority, and that's what I'm trying to carry through and maintain as good as I can.
Can we talk about, sorry, Jen, can we talk about your mental progression through that so we can see the outward physical manifestation of your decisions?
That was
But
exactly what I was going to ask.
Yeah. See, look,
There you go.
Yeah.
let's talk about the mental piece of it, because we know currently in dentistry, burnout is incredibly high among dentists, for a variety of reasons. And actually suicide and addictions are going back up in our field as well, statistically speaking. And so I want to hear a little bit about your mental journey through that process. Did you have help through that, or just in becoming something, a different version of yourself that also solved some of the mental stuff that, you know, maybe we all are plagued with as well? Or
Well, the help is, you know, something that, you know, you need support. And I definitely couldn't have done anything I did here without the support of my wife, who has her own practice, and she has a much bigger practice than I do, 2 offices, 90 employees. And she helped obviously tremendously. And my kids are now 16 and 14. So this came at the right time for me personally, because they were at the age where they don't need me for absolutely everything. And I'm able to, you know, part of how I did it honestly is I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, because I couldn't do things when I got home. I was just too tired from work, like most of us are. So I was getting everything done in the morning, and I leave the walking for when I got home, and just walk the dog. But I was walking so much, the dog started boycotting me, and she'd look away. She's like, "Not again, just go by yourself." So those are the things that, you know, mentally, without the support, you know, it's a struggle, because I'm doing this by myself, because I didn't have trainers with me, because they were virtual. So I had to wake myself up in the morning, and I started in the wintertime in Boston. So I wasn't really going outside. I was doing, actually, for the cardio, I was doing stairs up and down I live in a 40-story condo. So I was running up and down the stairs, 5 stairs at a time. But then I got shin splints because it was too much pounding up from the concrete. And I was too weak and out of shape to go on the bike at that point. So I had to figure out different things. That's why I found the YouTube videos. So, you know, it was just a learning process there, but certainly without the family support, I don't think I could have advanced as much as I did, because it is, you know, it was a time commitment as well. And she had to be on board with that, because, you know, towards the end, I was eating a little different from the family as far as dinner is concerned and all that. But that's now changed.
So you're back to eating with the family?
Yes. I was eating with them, but just eating, you know, a different dinner.
Hey, y'all have your manicotti, and I'm going to sit over here and eat my 2 broccoli spears and my chicken that I cooked on Sunday.
That's right.
very bland and tastes like shit, but I'm going to be fine over here. You guys just enjoy. So here's the real question. When was the last time you had ice cream, brother?
Oh, today, right now, before I came on. Yeah.
That a boy. So you're actually you're able to indulge a little bit more just so long as you keep it under control.
Yeah, it's it's really all about choices, really. It's one of those things where if I know I'm going somewhere, I'll look at the menu ahead of time and just see or I'll eat healthy, really clean breakfast and lunch to give myself the freedom to have that ice cream or those cookies. We all work in a dental office. We know it's not the healthiest place. All the snacks and the cookies and what patients bring. So, I indulge in it. It's something I don't deny myself. I will say, from a drinking standpoint, I was never a big drinker, but especially towards the end and going to the end of the program, I did really limit my alcohol intake, which, the beers I like to drink are the big IPAs, and the tall ones, and those are about 400 calories each. So I only had a certain number of calories. I wasn't going to allot it to the beer at that point. But I've switched to different alcohol now, but I still indulge in that as well.
It's funny. I think for those of us, I think it takes a certain type of personality, but there's always a tipping point, and for me, many years ago when I got into fitness, and I've since fallen off the wagon, but it was getting on that scale one morning and being like, I'm never going to hit this number, and I'm so close to this number, and I've got to do something. And that's when I went like all on board with cycling, and I lost a ton of weight, and I was able to, since I was burning so many calories every single day, I was losing weight, and I could eat pretty much whatever the hell I wanted. When I quit cycling and I kept eating the same way, I gained it all back. But the thing is that there's always just this little tipping point. I loved your story about kind of your tipping point, looking at pictures of yourself from Disney World and seeing this and seeing that. But throughout your journey, what are some of the weirdest things that people have said to you when they've noticed that you're losing this weight? Have there been some odd questions?
Yeah. So most of it, with patients especially, if they hadn't seen me in 6 months from their last recall, they quietly asked the assistant after I left the room or the hygienist if I went for a check. They're like, is that Dr. Vidal? They weren't sure. Or is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he sick?
Yeah. Did he have cancer?
Yes.
Okay.
Some to my face asked me if I had cancer, if I was okay.
Yeah.
I said, yes, this is all planned. Because it was 10 months where I lost about 60 pounds. I'm only 5'7". I was weighing about 194 pounds, which is way too much weight for somebody my height. And so it was a pretty dramatic change especially in that 10-month period for people who hadn't seen me in a little bit of time. The tipping point that I just wanted to answer Jennifer, besides, staring things, I think one day, besides the photos, I was tying my shoes and my belly was so big, I was having trouble tying my shoes. So I said, this is not good. So it was time to make a change. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it takes work, no doubt, and commitment. But I'm not anything special. If I can do this, it can be done by anybody, really.
So are breaded steak and flan off the menu permanently?
No, it all depends on the day, really. Yeah.
So I want to share some pictures of your journey, because you say 60 pounds and trust me, I mean, it's height and it's all body mass percentage, but it's truly a genius transformation. So you sent us some pictures, so I want to share those real quick, and I think they're about to pop up on the screen here. Hold on, it's processing. Sorry, this is not the easiest platform to use, but here we go. Oh, so here's
Sissy.
Here's the first picture that I want to share. This is Bud, and this is Sissy. This is JB, circa
in high school,
2004, 2005.
I looked good in high school.
With her boyfriend Bud. But anyways, there's Miguel, before and after.
That was at my
wow.
This is the Miguel I knew, and when I saw these pictures, you can tell why I didn't recognize.
You didn't recognize him.
Yeah,
that was
There's Miguel.
What, dude? You're ripped.
Yeah. And then there's another pic. I mean, it's been an amazing transformation. And I see you more on social media than I do in person, but you know, from the pictures I've seen, it seems like your wife still likes you too.
Yeah, it's good. You know,
Yeah.
I think the other people, you know, she's benefited also, and so I joined the gym in January. So after 10 months of doing the same stuff at home, I was really bored of doing the same stuff. So in January, I buckled down and I joined the gym, and you know, so now I get to do different exercises, and I'm working on building more lean muscle now. And then we take classes together. So on Saturdays we have a class that we take, and we do different things together at the gym. So it's been good from that aspect too. And you know, she's eating healthier as well, and you know, the kids are active in the sports and everything. So that, you know, I was eating the same way basically that I was 20 years old, and we're not 20 anymore. So I can't have, you know, that type of food. It's just it's common sense stuff. But when honestly, when you sit down and track everything, it's eye opening to see when you're putting it in, and maybe a couple pieces of chocolate. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have that right now. And just tracking everything was really very powerful for me, and that's why I still keep it up as much as I can.
I just
Well,
think this is such a powerful message right now because, you know, I feel like in particularly in our country, but I also think worldwide, more so in our country, that we are so into quick fixes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's I'm just gonna go get on a GLP-1
Mhm.
injection, or I'm just gonna go have gastric sleeve, excuse me,
Right.
or a procedure, because it's easy. But any of those things, and I know because I did gastric sleeve. I know because I got on a GLP-1 at one point. Any of those things, if you don't actually make a change
Right.
to your core being, to how you live your life, none of those things will be long-term effective.
Right.
So I just think this is such a powerful message that, yeah, you can do this on your own, and you don't have to have a quick fix. There's no reason it has to be done in 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Take your time, do it the right way. But I think the real message here is that without a lifestyle change, really you can't make any permanent change.
I think that's spot on, Jeff. And you know, I'm not here to you know, judge anybody. And that was one of the things that a lot of friends did reach out privately and ask me, "Hey, are you taking Ozempic or anything like that?" I said, "You know, no, I'm not. I don't take any supplements. You know, the only thing that I do is, you know, I had to hit 200 grams of protein a day, which is a lot of protein. So I couldn't get that much in just eating chicken. So I put, you know, some whey protein in my smoothies every morning, and things of that nature, because I had to supplement that way because it's just too much food. But you know, a lot of this was exactly that. And my concern with taking those things is what you mentioned, Jeff. If you don't couple that with a lifestyle change, and when you stop that medication, and we know medications have side effects, right? So long-term use of that, what's going to happen? And once you stop it, if you haven't changed the underlying issues, are you going to go back to how it was before, or even worse from that aspect? So I did all this also with going back to the practice issue, and running the practice. We were also down a doctor in the middle of my transformation, because she was one of the doctors was out on maternity leave. So I really still worked on making this the priority, and shuffling the schedule so I didn't miss anything. And really a lot of this credit goes to Martin and Jason, who are my two trainers, setting up the program for me. And every time they gave me another challenge, I'm like, you know, Martin, I don't think I can do it. You know, I'm already doing 3 hours of exercise. I don't think I can fit it in. I'll try it for a little bit. And then I kept doing it. And I don't like to leave boxes unchecked. So if they put it there for me, I feel like it's a failure if I don't do it. So I just kept pushing. And then when they asked me if I would consider going to see them and doing a photo shoot with them, I'm like, guys, I don't think that's something I'm interested in. And then I came back to them like, okay, what's involved? And then they told me what it was, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it. If it's too much, I'm gonna pull back, and then I'm just gonna go back to normal. But I kept doing it, and then you know, here we were.
It really becomes an addiction, you know.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, it does.
Fun.
It does feel good, and I remember it from when I got into cycling. It was definitely an addiction, but also felt good to break free from that addiction. And I hope that you don't get there, But
Yeah.
but having been through it twice, I encourage you to stick with it. And it sounds like you've got a wonderfully supportive family. And like Jeff said, I think it's a great message to all of us because you said something earlier that I think we all feel when we get home, we're tired.
Yeah.
Especially, you said you just hit 50. I'm about 2 months away from it. I mean, I'm tired when I get home. I mean, the last thing I want to do is go work out, but we've got to kind of push through that and we've got to find our time. My time to work out is in the morning.
Right.
And that's when, get ahead of it. And I always say, if I go to work after I've sweated, it's been a great day, and so I just kudos to you for what you've done. And I think it's a great message for those out there. Just find the time, make time for yourself, take care of yourself. That's where we're going to live the longest, if we do that.
Yeah. Well said.
Balance.
Yeah. What is that?
Well, and we're all really bad about prioritizing ourselves. It's just not you. I don't think you go into this profession because that's your general demeanor that you
totally agree, baby. I think we all
your own personal needs, even maybe above those who you're serving. I think the average dentist is a servant at heart, and that's why they end up in this profession, and almost a servant to their own fault. That they then become compartmentalized or reduced out of their own lives in replacement. And it's not just for your patients, it's for your kids. As you said, it's for your spouse, it's for your family members who need you. Your community puts pressure on you to do and serve and do all the things, and then patients on top of it. So I think we naturally don't prioritize ourselves. And I think that's a really impactful message for many of us probably listening to this podcast, that it's not being selfish. It's not taking away from any of the other people who are important to you, because your point was incredibly valid. If I'm not here, who am I serving anyway? Like, if I'm not taking care of myself, I won't be on this earth long enough to have lived out my goals and taking care of enough people. So it's really important.
Last year, during my journey, my transformation, I had 2 very close friends pass away, unfortunately, and that just spurred me on even more. And they were my age, so unexpectedly, both of them, and that just cemented more of my drive to really get to where I wanted to go.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you, Chad.
You bet. You bet. So, well, I think we're
off topic though. Can you get a good Cuban coffee up where you are?
There's only, if you come to my house, my wife actually is very good at making it. So there's only one. Well, there's a couple Cuban restaurants now, but one's a little bit fancier. There's a no frills one that's been around for a very long time in a town called Jamaica Plain here, a little suburb.
Okay.
And they have a good one there. But where are you, Jeff? You're in South Carolina?
I'm in South Carolina. My roommate at MUSC was from Miami. And we're still like amazing friends to this day, but I used to go down with him at Christmas all the time. And I just got so immersed. Like I had to go out. And that's why I said this. I had to go out for my breaded steak, flan, and Cuban coffee.
Yeah.
Went down there. Yeah.
So the Bita Empanizado, that's one of my favorites I grew up on. So I was just home last week, so I was able to see the family, and I always stop at the airport and get a quick shot of the coffee and
it's so good.
So I haven't found one here, but sorry, go ahead, Chad. Sorry.
No, in addition to Jeff's question, I just wanted to ask how the Sassoon side of the family's doing.
Yeah, no. I either use that, depending on my audience. It's either Vidal Sassoon or Gore Vidal. No relation to either one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, my this week my phone has blown up because nobody's ever heard of my last name until this week. We've got a gold medalist.
Right.
And so, and he's from Lafayette, Louisiana, and everybody's like, "Is this a cousin? Are you related?" And I'm like, "Shit, I don't know if I am. I haven't met him."
He
Like, but
does kind of look like Austin. I'm not.
That's
not
what
kidding.
everybody says.
Kind of looks like. I was like, is that a Duplantis look? Because he
Yeah.
kind of looks like your son.
Yeah, well, the one thing that we lack in these Duplantis is the athleticism, so that's probably not the case.
Yeah.
But
He's
but
of
it
the
was
successful side of the family tree.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny. I followed him for years because he was pretty successful at LSU, and then he did this for Sweden once before. I am a little bit pissed off that he's with Sweden and not the USA, but that's a topic for another evening. But anyhow, I digress. So Vidal Sassoon. Anyhow, Jeff, do you want to close this out this evening, or you want me to?
Yeah, this is your deal. You're a closer.
All right. Well,
gift.
As we come to an end, it's always great to spend time with great friends. Miguel, I've thought the world of you since I met you. You're just an incredible lecturer. You do such great things in your practice that I've seen throughout your lectures. And then I just was blown away by your transformation, and you have an attention to detail in your practice, and you have an attention to detail in life. It's really awesome what you've done. And I hope that a lot of others will gain from your message and take an attention to detail in their own lives, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be around, as we said, to do the things that we really want to and to treat the population that we do. So with that being said, everybody, take heed in tonight's message. And side note, be on the lookout. We have a pretty incredible deal coming forth from Ada Education in regards to some staples for your dental practice. And that's all I'll say. But we appreciate all of you as always. What's that?
I'll say gloves.
Gloves? Okay, yeah.
Like
gloves
a great deal on some awesome gloves.
I'm just going to say that staples sounded sexier than gloves.
Yeah.
Got a great
I was
deal.
hoping for cotton rolls.
Gloves, cotton rolls, and gauze.
Why are staples sexier than gloves?
It was a teaser, Jeff. It was a teaser. That's all it was.
Oh no, I'm still teasing because they still don't know the deal. They're gonna find out the deal, but
no, we're gonna have a fantastic deal
really
that our friends at Ada have offered. Everybody, if you want to learn more about Miguel's journey, we will post his Facebook, Insta, and send him a message. Just know this guy's done it all, and it's been a pretty amazing transformation. So thanks for being here tonight, Miguel. As always, it's great to see you, Jeff and JB. And until next week, we will see you guys later.
All right. Thank you very much.
Peace out.
Good night, everyone.
Peace out from Mr. 305 and the Dinks.
Mr. 405, Oklahoma City.
Mr. Oklahoma City and the Dinks. Vidal Sassoon, baby.